G'day guys, Gav from the Drab Garage. Well, today's the day. We've been putting this off for a number of years, mainly because I don't really know what I'm doing and I haven't really had the space or the time to do it, but no better time than now. So we are going to be painting the Jeep frame. The thing's been sitting here for about 6 years in red oxide primer. It's got to get done, and obviously going to do the other bits hanging off the old kid's swing and the combat rims if I can. So hopefully I've got enough paint. I'm not sure if I do or not, but let's have a crack and see how we go. So I just got to mix up the paint, put my mask on and start painting. I hope it works because the compressor's been pushing a little bit of water through the line, and I drained everything out, took all the connections off, took all the water catches out, let everything dry out as best as I could. But it still seems to be pushing air through, a bit of water through with the air. So I don't really know how to fix that. I don't know why it does it. It just seems to push water through, even though I've got a triple catcher and a water catcher on the compressor. So alright, well, see how we go. I'll probably screw it up like always, you know, first time doing it, lessons learnt. But at the end of the day, we're going away in a couple of days. I've got to go to Sydney for my mum's funeral. We finally have a date for the funeral. That was just that's a drama. Don't even ask me about that. That's just a headache. There's family politics involved with that, so I really don't want to get involved in that. But yeah, this is why I've got to get some paint on this frame, because it's going to be sitting out and it's supposed to be raining. It's supposed to be raining now apparently, but it'll probably be raining later tonight and definitely raining tomorrow, so I want to get some paint on it. So hopefully we've got enough paint to at least get the frame done, maybe a couple other bits and bobs, and yeah, let's hook into it, guys. So guys, we got some of the parts painted up, obviously, and it looked great. But there was a major problem. As you can see, I've got crap everywhere. Major problem is this. Yeah. If you can focus, it would be great. It's scratching off. It's just everything. Look at that. So apparently the primer wasn't prepped hard enough, as you can see, even on the hard stuff. Okay, it's just scratching off. Like, here we go. As you can see, just scratches straight off. So everything that I painted, grille, windscreen, inner, outer, seat, wheels, fender, frame, okay, it all has to be stripped back. See, because they're all doing that. They're all literally just scratching off. So guys, to say I'm really disappointed is an understatement. That frame's been sitting there now for maybe 5 years, maybe longer, under plastic and under a tarp, and it was, you know, tonka tough, man. It very recently only just started to show signs that the primer was starting to have some issues in terms of dealing with corrosion, but it was like little silvery sort of reflective dots on it in a way. So, you know, I sanded it back. I did it with a 3M scuff pad. Apparently I'm supposed to do it with a 400 grit sandpaper, which is a little odd, really, because to do that, you would have taken primer off things like the rivet heads and the edges of stuff. So I suppose that's what I've got to do. But now I've got to figure out how to get it off. Got to needle scale it, wire wheel it, sandpaper it, use some thinners on some smaller bits to try and get it off, and get the primer back on to the bits that's going to be exposed to bare metal. There's some bits on the frame I did the other day, and just to see what stuff I could use to get it off with, and actually got it back to bare metal, unfortunately. So let me put my thing here. Ended up getting it back to bare metal, and now it's starting to rust because, as you can see, it's been raining. This is day 3 of non-stop rain. It kind of goes some light rain to the heavy stuff, and it just means you can't get out and do any work. So yeah, I've got to research now paint companies, because no one does off the shelf Drab like that. That's a custom paint. I spoke to the paint company that I got it from. The guy at first was like, oh, it sounds like maybe it wasn't mixed right, that maybe something was missing. I'll investigate it, and I've sent him 2 emails since, got no reply. So I need to go find another company, someone that can do it. I've got to get my head around the different types of paints to be used. Apparently one of the paint companies, which is Protec, I think they're called, at Rockley, west of Brisbane there, they say, yeah, we've got a primer, we've got thinners, we've got the paint, we can do the paint. They apparently do military paint for the Australian Army, so it's got some infrared capabilities to it. I don't particularly need that. I just want Drab paint that sticks, and so they can do it, and they can do it pretty cheap. I think their 4 litre tin that they can do, they quoted me somewhere around $70, $90 or something like that. This tin of paint that I got from Inspirations Paint Deluxe, Inspirations Paint Centre, Nerang, cost me $350. So I'm pretty pissed about it, to be honest. I don't see why the primer makes any difference. Apparently the Protec guys are saying, oh, our paint won't work with your primer. Well, there's 2 different types of primers. I've used the Metal Shield, the Deluxe Metal Shield, on the small stuff like this. and the frame was done by Newman's at Currumbin. Newman's Coatings at Currumbin on the Gold Coast. So, and that's an industrial coating, so I don't see why that should be an issue. But, you know, I mean, the paint went down nice, but it just doesn't stick. So anytime you bump it, knock it, scratch it against some, the paint just scratched off. So it's another delay once again on this project. This is why it's taken so many years to get this thing done. It's all about research. It's all about finding stuff. Like, geez, it took me years just to find somebody who could supply imperial sized bolts, and now I've got to find somebody who can supply paint. This stuff isn't off the shelf in Australia. There's only 2 suppliers for these parts in Australia, or 3. One does all the small stuff, and the other 2 do all the bigger stuff. One of them's on the other side of Brisbane, so it's like an hour and a half away, and the other one's way down in central New South Wales. So it's like a day's drive away to get parts. So to get parts is hard, and whatever parts you do find that are original parts are usually rusty, rotted, gutted, ripped, torn, bent, broken, and take a lot of work to get back to that sort of condition, ready for paint. And now I've got to muck around doing that. So I'm really upset about it, disappointed, I guess, in myself, because maybe I didn't do something right. I've asked in a few paint forums, and they all say, oh, you should have sanded it better, and you should have done it. Well, short of sanding it down to bare metal, what else could I have done? I mean, the primer's on there, and you watch plenty of videos, you see guys like the Australian Artillery and Army Museum in Cairns, and they got their gear painted in red oxide, and I happen to know that they don't sit there and spend all day with sandpaper and a Tiger tank, you know, or a Grant tank, every inch of it, to get that primer the way that they are supposed to get it, so you can paint it. They just paint the damn thing, okay? They're not sanding anything. So I don't know. I see plenty of other people doing the same thing, red oxide primer, unless it's like a shiny glossy finish, which this stuff wasn't. It was more of a satin finish, and then I scuffed it up. It's got to be the paint, you know. And it's funny because I had some of this paint put in an aerosol can years ago, so I could paint smaller bits and pieces. And once again, had a different primer. I had a grey etch primer. Different company again, not even Dulux, it's a different company. And I went to check that stuff the other day, and same thing, the paint's scratching off. So it's got to be the paint. So I'm pretty pissed about it. It's $350, it's $380 or something I paid for this paint. It's junk. And now, once again, like what always happens in Australia, you get shit products here in Australia, and the retailers always want to argue with you. They'll either ignore you, or they'll just flat out refuse to cover their product, and we'll give you a refund. So a lot of people just give up, and I think that's where I'm at. I'm just giving up, trying to get my money back in this garbage. And now I have a massive task ahead of me. I mean, this is just some of the stuff. There's more stuff downstairs in the garage, obviously, and then there's the frame that's got to be cleared off. So, not looking forward to it. As you can tell, chest infection. Nice little gift picked up from Sydney. Went down there last weekend, last Friday, for my mum's funeral. That was an emotional stress, so my immune system was down pretty low. That was an alright drive. It was 10 hours there and about 9.5 hours coming back. Typical lunatics in Sydney and Newcastle and idiots. I don't really miss Sydney in a way, but I kind of miss Sydney. A lot of emotions, a lot of memories driving into Sydney, and seeing things that look the same but look different, and realising that's where I used to hang out with it when you were a kid, and that's the shop you used to go and have something to eat with your mates, and seeing people you haven't seen since you're about 15, 16 years of age, and a lot of people coming up to me going, do you remember me? Do you know me? Do you remember me? And some voices I remembered, I didn't really remember their faces, and then other people sort of remembered. And then at the service they were talking about things that I didn't really do remember. So I don't know if maybe I've had too many head hits when I was in the army. and just in life to remember this stuff. But yeah, it was just a weird event. But yeah, so we had the funeral, buried my mum, and we drove back home, and just been hanging out at home ever since, waiting to go see the specialist for my knee. That's next Thursday. Hopefully I'll be alright to go back to work and start making some money, because at the moment I've got no primer, I ain't got paint that works, I can't buy new paint, I need tools, I ran out of gas for the welder, and I can't buy rebuild kits and extra bits and bobs. Just simple tools like depth gauge, you know, to do the diffs, seals, bearings, all that sort of Gucci gear that you need to put stuff together. I can't even do that. I need stuff I need to take off to an engineering guy out at Yatla, which is just on the other side of the Gold Coast, over the mountain there somewhere. I've been checking him out. Cutting Edge Engineering is the company. He's on Facebook. Go check him out. He's a local guy. He pretty much does all the work by himself. He does a lot of plant equipment, so things like Cat, Komatsu, Hitachi, all the big plant gear like bulldozers and excavators. So I want to have a chat with him. I think his name is Kurt or Curtis, top of my head. I'll have to double check. But go check out Cutting Edge Engineering Australia on Facebook, and check him out on YouTube. He's got some really good videos, shows some really good gear. He's got a lot of old school gear, so he does things like boring, welding, fabrication, things like that. So some things like I've got Jeep diffs downstairs that the diff carriers caps are not the right ones for that diff, so that obviously needs to be line board. But there's one diff there that it's actually corroded, where the caps can, the faces of the diff and the faces of the cap are pitted. I'm not sure if that makes much of a difference, to be honest, at the end of the day, if it's fairly flat. But I want to get him to have a look at that and tell me what he thinks he can do with that. Just little things like that, fabricating some bits and pieces that need to be done. So there's lots of stuff still needs to get done. This is not a bought and running Jeep and Dodge that was pulled apart, sanded down, resprayed, and put back together with new consumables. This is literally finding parts in the back of some bloke's shed in one place, finding a chassis in another place, picking up wheels at some other joint, like literally finding pieces of rusty, rotten, ripped, torn, broken Jeeps and Dodges all over the east coast of Australia. Some of them I've sought by myself, some of them I've sought with a friend of mine. A lot of you guys might know this gentleman, Jad Dennis. He's a great bloke, and his dad and his wife is also involved now when they go out and they find all these parts, and they've got a Facebook page too. I can't remember what it's called. Something like Rusty Recovery Adventures or something like that. I'll have to have a look at that one too, and I'll mention it in another video, so you can go check him out. But I got a lot of stuff from him as well, and he's been great. You know, he's found some amazing vehicles. They just picked up another, I think it was a 41 WC truck at an auction last week up here in Brisbane.
There she is, loaded in the rain yet again.
It's gorgeous. I love it. I love the styling of the early Dodge trucks. Very, very nice. So now he's got two of them. Lucky bugger. And lots of really cool stuff. So that's where I get a lot of my parts from. And yeah, they need work. And of course, to do that work, you need to buy tools. You need to buy consumables. You need to have time. I'm pressed for space. Yeah, I mean, I have a fairly large block. Most of it's outside, so I don't have the ability to work, obviously, when it's raining. And I certainly don't have a tarp or a shed or anything, or the money for that at the moment. So we need to do a lot of work in the house. Yeah, we'll get around to getting some stuff done. So anyway, guys, that's kind of just where we are at the moment. When I get some fresh paint, obviously, hopefully next pay, we can get some get another tool. I need to get another tool that's a bead breaker tool. I saw Mike Watson use on his channel, Watson's Wagons, on his Dodge wheels. Brilliant looking tool, fantastic. It's actually sold here in Australia. It's about 120 bucks or something posted. So I want to get that for my Dodge wheels so I can break the bead, get those tyres off, separate those compact rims, get them cleaned up so I can get them painted, and obviously I can start having a rolling chassis for the Dodge, because at the moment it's just sitting at the bottom of the driveway. It's not doing anything. It's, you know, it's getting in the way. So I kind of need to be able to get some diffs together, get some wheels on it, and we can move it around. But in the meantime, this is going to be the pain in the ass, because all of this has to be all cleaned up. Yep, that and the chassis, which is down the bottom of the driveway. So anyway guys, like I always say, be good, like, share, subscribe, all that junk, and hopefully get some stuff out for you soon. And thanks for watching. Cheers guys.